Welcome to Covenant Tribe Media Podcast, where we explore all things writers and filmmakers with an emphasis on faith-based and independent creators. The host is Ashia Goldson, a multi-published author, screenwriter, and filmmaker. Now, let's talk media.
Welcome to Covenant Tribe Media Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest by the name of Marquisha Williams, and we are going to have the awesome opportunity of hearing about her But God book tour. Welcome, Marquisha.
Hi, I'm so honored and blessed to be here.
Absolutely. It's definitely our pleasure. Please tell us, Marquisha, if you can, a little bit about yourself as far as where you are from originally and where you live now.
Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Marquisha Williams. I am an author, a speaker, and a faith mentor. I am originally from Decatur, Georgia, but I now stay in Jonesboro, Georgia.
Okay. So you're definitely a Georgia peach.
I am, yes.
Okay, I'm an honorary Georgia peach. Wasn't born here, but I definitely fell in love with it. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell us, Marquisha, about this book tour I've been hearing about. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this But God book tour. And tell us about this. Tell us about this new book of yours.
Yes, my book, I just released it January 31st of this year.
Wonderful.
And of course, it's by the name But God. And my book tour, I will be having my first location for my tour right here in Atlanta, Georgia on May the 3rd. Tickets will be available for that book tour online. And if anyone is interested in going, they're able to look me up on my social medias or send me an email.
Okay. Tell us what the book tour entails. What's happening with this book tour event?
So the purpose for the book tour is to just get women in the building and just create a community of sisterhood, those that have been through similar things that I have regarding miscarriage, infertility, child loss, and just create that environment for women to be able to be vulnerable about their stories and to see that there are other women that struggles in the same way. And just to, like I said, create an environment to uplift and motivate each other and just sow seeds of faith and love and of hope.
Oh, that sounds definitely awesome. Let's go back to the beginning because this sounds so like such a full of faith event. When did you know you wanted to write a book? That's first. When did that happen for you? Or this book in particular?
Yes, I love that question because I get that a lot. I have to often tell people that writing a book was never part of my plan.
Okay.
I never planned to write a book. It was all part of God's plan for my life. And the moment I started to walk with God, there was a lot of sacrificing and obedience required to step into those plans to be an author and to write a book. It was a very tough thing to do because at the same time I was healing and I had to heal through writing. I would say I was healing while I was writing.
Right.
I never knew that was going to be the ultimate plan for my life, which is to write a book, but God knew all along.
Absolutely. I like what you said, healing through your writing.
Yes.
Okay, can you give us a few hints without giving anything away about, I guess, what the book is about for those who are listening, just in general?
Okay, yes. So it's a written testimony. I like to say I am very vulnerable and transparent about the many storms that I faced after losing my daughter. And even before, I struggled with infertility, miscarriage, and then I had a stillbirth, which I lost my daughter right at 9 months, just days before her due date.
Okay.
I struggled with a lot of things after navigating through that season: addiction, depression, suicidal thoughts. So I just wrote, like I said, I was healing as I was writing.
Right.
So I'm very vulnerable about the many seasons that I navigated through after losing my daughter. But it's also a seed of hope and of faith to women that are navigating or have navigated through those seasons, because I don't just leave it at what I've been through, but I ended with how God is the answer. He is
Yes.
able to deliver, to restore, to heal. That's a little bit of what the book is about.
Ooh, yes, that sounds powerful. Definitely sounds
Mhm.
powerful. All right. Okay. So God instructed you to write this book as you were going through your own process. It sounds you were going through your own
Yes,
process,
yes,
and He was
yes.
preparing you for His purpose for you.
That is correct. Yes, I said a lot. I didn't find God in church. I was in and out the church, but I didn't find him there. I found him through the struggle, and I found
Right.
him through the pain and my way of healing. He was healing and restoring me, as well as giving me instructions. All along, it was preparation for my calling in order
Yes.
to be a vessel.
Okay. So you have it's God's idea because it was never your intention, never your plan, and you know that you
Yes.
have to publish this book. What did you choose, or how did you choose to publish it, and how did you know which thing to choose?
Yeah, so the thing about walking with God, he give you a instruction and for a minute he goes quiet. So I was very intentional about where it is that I should go with about publishing a book. Which company is it that I should go with? I was very intentional and very patient when it came to that process. Just doing online research and just going with that feeling of whichever company left me with like a peaceful feeling, and
Right.
the unease and the confusion and chaotic feelings isn't of God. So just literally following his footsteps of how I felt at that time.
Got it. Got it. So, what did you do first? I guess you answered that. You did some research, some online research. Would you say the publishing process was difficult? Was it smooth?
Now, it was pretty smooth. It was. On my end, it was a lot of back and forth, but as far as the publishing company that I went with, it was very smooth, yes.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So there's nothing that you would change about the process if you could do it over again. And I say that because oftentimes, again, in the beginning of anything, you don't know necessarily what's going to happen. You're not prepared for the entire process. But sometimes afterward, you're like, okay, now that I know this, I would do this differently or that differently. Has that been the case?
For sure, yes. Actually, it's a list of things I wish I would have done differently. I was learning as I go. This is my first book.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. One of the main things is I would make sure that I have everything within the book that I know I want to mention from beginning to the end. Because it was a lot of, when you do pick a publishing company, they are ready to get the ball rolling.
Yes.
And a lot of the holdup was me wanting to incorporate more pages, or me wanting to take out pages or implement this. So I would make sure to anyone that is interested in writing a book, to make sure that they go over it time after time, front to back. Make sure you take your time and read the book in its entirety. Make sure you have everything that you want to mention or sending it off to the publishing companies.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice there. Good. So you said the book was released in January?
Yes, January 31st.
Okay, okay. How would you say your life has changed since actually finishing the writing portion or even having it published from the moment it's been released? Like, how would you say it's affected your life?
Personally, it helped me through with my healing process. Like I said, writing was part of the healing process for me. And for years, I was holding on to a lot of that pain.
Right.
And with some of the pain, I was even suppressing it. And I had suppressed it for so long, I became numb to it.
Okay.
Through my writing, wounds was opened up to properly heal. So I would say this book has been, along with God, it has been a major part of my healing process. It's no longer just built up within, but it's on paper. It's out there now. And it's not just for my own healing, but it's also out there for others to be healed and for others to relate and to seek God for the things that they can relate to in the book.
Okay, that's good. So for the sake of our listeners, because you sound like you're so full of faith, can you walk us through maybe, I don't know, some of your processing as you were writing? How did the faith part help you? What did you do? How, in terms of, like you said, letting God heal you, can you be a little bit more specific? Because somebody out there is listening and they're in pain. They're like, okay, where do I get started? What I do?
Yeah, like I said, I would first seek God for clear instructions. God wouldn't send us nowhere or ask us to do anything unprepared. So just focus on fully healing so that you can be in a full example of what it looked like when you give your wounds to God. And when it comes to the actual publishing and the actual writing the book, just start from where, allow God to bring up those old wounds, because it's preparation. It's him getting you to know where everything started. Like, where did this thing start? Where did this hurt come from? Let's go back there. You have to be okay with going back to the things that hurt you, whether it's 2-3 years ago. And sometimes it will even start before, like with me, it started before I lost my daughter. There were things from my childhood that God wanted to tap into so that I could heal from it, to put it in the book. Just allow him to bring up whatever it is that you're dealing with, and even the things that you may be blind to, because it's an important step. Because writing a book is for your healing, but I'll say it again, it's really for those that God has on the other side of your calling.
That's right. That's definitely true. Okay, when you told your inner circle, people around you, your family, friends, about you writing a book, was it well received? Did you have a good support system?
Yeah, my inner circle, my mom, dad, grandma, aunt, they were supportive, but it comes with doing something out of the norm. The Cardinal, I can understand why certain things has to be sacrificed and laid down in order to walk out your calling. Did come with a lot of opinions and outside advice that would rather me go another way and use what I already have, which is a degree in the medical field.
Okay.
Majority of my family was supportive, but a lot of people just couldn't see it.
Understood. I definitely understand that. Okay. So you're in this process, you finished writing the book. What would you say that you personally have learned from writing this book?
I have learned the most important thing, I would say, obedience. I feel like I've mentioned that a lot throughout this interview. So I don't know who God is talking to, but obedience is important. This book was a journey. It was not easy. It wasn't just writing, publishing, releasing. It was a lot of warfare. It was a lot of spiritual things that was against me from getting this book out. And that's how I knew that there was power in this book, because of the many things that came with writing it and releasing it. So I would say obedience. Obedience. No matter how hard the journey was, I had to learn to continue to press forward. No matter, there were days where I questioned, did God say this? Or am I doing the right thing? Or maybe I should just, but it took a lot of obedience to keep going despite what things looked like and what it did. Through writing the book, literally learned the importance of obedience.
Yes, that's big. That's big. Again, during this process, throughout the healing, the writing, the releasing, everything, I would say, again, so for people listening, to be clear, so you were getting your instructions from the Word of God.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say that so it's clear to somebody, like, okay, where do I begin? Where do I start? How do I hear from God? Because you never know what spiritual level people are on as they're listening.
I got it. Yes, ma'am. So when it comes to the beginning, no matter what spiritual level you're on, now these days we have chat. So you can use chat for your editing to help you with any grammar corrections or any simple editing when it comes to writing your book. That way you're still able to self-publish. And when you do find a publishing company, they're able to print everything that you have already done yourself. So I would just say, take your time to write and pour out your heart on paper.
Right.
Think of what is the purpose of you writing this book. What do you want your readers to gain from reading this book? And then go from there.
Okay. And I'm glad you went there. What is it that you want your readers to gain from reading this book?
I want them to see that no matter how hard life gets, I want them to have hope again. I want them to increase their faith. I want them to know that there is another way other than the things that we try to find that to satisfy us in this world. I want them to read the book from beginning to the end and say, I want to try God. Okay, my story isn't over. It's not done. He's not done with me. He hasn't left me. I even want them to realize in their own lives that God doesn't leave us, no matter how hard it gets. I want them to recognize how his hand is still somewhat in our lives, guiding us to the places and the seasons and the areas that he intends us to be. So I really want to awaken the faith and the hope of those that have been through tragic situations.
Yes. He'll never leave us or forsake us.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Okay, so now we've got this book. It's power packed. It's faith filled. It's out there we're going on with the tour.
Yes.
Venue, it's going to be packed out.
Yes,
for God's glory. What is next for you, girl?
Oh, so next I am expecting big plans. Now, I have walked with God. No, I am a God faith-filled person, okay? I'm going to mention him every other sentence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we want on this podcast.
Yes.
I don't know about the others, but that's what we want on this podcast.
Yes. So I just have a lot of faith and I have a lot of expectations that more doors will be coming. My story, I will be traveling, telling my story. I will be just being an obedient vessel and just go wherever he sends me. More podcasts, more interviews, speaking engagements, more books.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm getting excited. Here. So for all of our listeners who are now hearing about this tour, they're getting excited too, I'm sure. Some about the tour, if not the tour, then just purchasing the book. And if not necessarily that yet, how they can get more information or how they can connect with you and as an author. So tell us, first and foremost, how can they get their hands on this book?
Yeah, so the book is available. It's But God by Marquisha Williams, and it is available on Barnes & Noble as well as Amazon.
Okay, excellent. That's pretty simple. And how can they connect with you as an author? Let's say there's more information about you. They want to connect with you. What platforms are you on?
Pretty much all of them. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and they could find me at Quisha Speaks. It's Quisha Speaks. Okay, that's pretty simple too. Good. Quisha Speaks on any of the platforms and they'll be able to find you. Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I have one more question for you, Quisha. This has been so empowering. I'm excited for you. What piece of advice would you give to anyone listening to this podcast right now, whether it be someone who's, again, interested in writing their testimony or just writing a book, period, or someone who has gone through similar trials or just trials in general in life? For whatever reason, they're listening to this podcast today. What advice would you give them?
So for one, your story is never over. As long as you're here, God still has a purpose for you. And if you are interested in writing a book, you have to believe that God didn't just save you from, but he saved you for. Be a vessel for the thing that he saved you from, for his people, so that more people can find him through you. Sometimes we're the closest thing to God that people know. And just be obedient. If God is tugging and pulling on you to write a book, do it. Don't allow your fear to make you feel like you aren't qualified or you don't have what it takes. I didn't plan to write a book. God wouldn't send you anywhere that he won't equip you for. There's something within you about yourself that he already knows about. And your obedience is what's going to awaken that thing within you.
Yes.
Just be obedient to his word and your story is never over.
Oh, all right. I think that's enough for us right there. We can run right on that, Marquisha. We can run, girl. Yes. All right. This is awesome. I want everybody out there to definitely look up Marquisha Williams. Let's get on board with this But God book tour and purchase this book and connect with her, and let's make it happen for the glory of God. Thank you so much, Marquisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Join your host, Asia Goldson, next time on the Covenant Tribe Media Podcast.